Come on, you bastard.
Turn it on Thursday night. Mike lights up, we're in the fight. Gaz and Ben with the quick fire chat. Player stories, all of that. Boots on bench, then right in frame. Names, nicknames, hometown fame. In that number, we know the game. We live the hunger in that number, Gaz and Ben.
Right, we are back with That Number podcast, and going to start off with the sad news about Jai Arrow that came out this week. It's never good news when it comes to MND, and we know what it means, and we can only give our thoughts and prayers to his loved ones at the moment, Ben.
Yeah, it's I don't know what else you can say. It sucks. It's really shitty.
It's difficult to talk about, isn't it?
It's another sportsman, the last 10, 15 years, the amount of sportsmen that are getting this, it's horrible. You got to remember that when they're putting bodies on the line, stuff like this can be an outcome. It's not just a bit of fun. This is sacrifice, and all you got to hope is that all the work that's been put into MND research through the various sportsmen, obviously us being rugby league fans in England, Rob Burrow Foundation and all that's our big one, but it happens all around the world, and just got to hope, not just for him but for everyone, that there's at least some breakthrough in being able to treat it sooner rather than later, and hopefully he can be here to see that. That would be that would be a good thing. But best wishes to him.
Yeah, and we hear a lot of bring back the Biff and all that stuff, and it's well founded, but some of this is partially the reason why we spend so much time looking at CTEs and stuff like that. So sometimes you just need to take a step back and think, well, it is for player welfare at the end of the day.
It is, and it's not been. I know there's a lot of research going into it, and it's not been fully proven about the link between head knocks and MND, but I think it's one of those where I think they will find that link at some point. I think it's inevitable, and there's other things like you said, like CTE, how rampant that is as well, and early dementia. We've had players with that. It's just got to protect the players as much as we can. Yes, it's a physical sport, and yes, to an extent, they do know what they're signing up for, but you've still got to do the right thing and protect them as much as you can. So that's why the rules are going the way they are, and hopefully it means less things like this and things to do with brains in the future when it comes to players. Yeah,
and it's probably the reason why we're seeing a lot of young players coming through now wearing headgear. Like George Whitby, Harry Robertson, George Flanagan Jr., they're all wearing skull caps, and if that's a longevity in not just a career but in life after rugby, then we're all for it.
Mm-hmm.
So best wishes to Jai Arrow's loved ones, and we hope we can find some kind of peace within what's going on. Huddersfield started off how we wanted it to, and the same old again, went to sleep.
Yeah. Oh, it's a weird one this season. It's just, I was thinking about this before when I was just thinking about what I was going to say about the game. And I think people just have to accept, because it was exciting. You get a coach like Rowley who has had teams punching above the weight before. They play attacking rugby. It felt like a restart. We had a new, CEO leaving. It just felt like, all right, this is, this is like a brand new chapter, and things are going to be rosy, and they're going to be, it's all going to be back to normal, blah, blah, blah. But I think we just have to accept that I don't think the squad is where a lot of people think it is.
Yeah, and I think this scoreline says a lot, to be honest. I mean, we shouldn't be conceding, no disrespect to Huddersfield, but we shouldn't be conceding that many points from him.
Not without this started as well. So I'm not going to say let's not criticise because, Rowley's new. He's still got the same. There's still the same assistants that might. And we'll get onto that changing soon. And there's still play. We've had all these injuries. Like it's all like good. You're just gonna find that balance because for me, it's still a lot better than like the lows of the last couple seasons. I don't think we've hit. Even the semi-final came close and the whole KR game, but even then, for me, we got a lot lower the last couple of years, and I think we just have to kind of accept that. I think a lot of our squad is over. Not a lot of it, but there's a lot of. Well, yeah, in a way, a lot of the squad is overrated by a lot of the fans, and that's not to say the bad players, but I think we seem to think it'd just be a case of like a different coach and all these players. We've now just got the grand final winning squad ready to go, and I think we're kind of seeing that's really not the case, and there's still a rebuild. Yeah,
we are still in that transition.
We are first still, and all right, it's 12 games, 11 games, whatever, but we've had a couple of seasons of 5th and 6th, and I think barring an absolute disaster second half of the season, we're almost certainly finished in the top 4. So you'd look at that and say progress. And we're not fully consistent with like the attacking rugby. We do seem to like do it a lot against the weaker teams and then revert to a bit of one-up rugby in tough games. But it might just be this process. It's going to take a lot longer than we expected. It might be more like a Nathan Brown. People remember Nathan Brown didn't turn things around overnight. In 2013, we were on the end of some hammerings and we finished 7th, I think, 6th. The next season, we finished 1st and won the grand final.
Yeah.
We changed a lot of the squad in those couple of years. So that's not to say we shouldn't criticise because we have a problem where I think we can absolutely play better for longer and we're not doing it. And I do think these players are more than capable of not switching off as much as they have done this season. But at the same time, we are first. We're almost certainly going to better last season. And we have had one of the worst injury crises that the club's had since like 2011, which is fair. It's not just 3 or 4, 4 or 5. It's been up to 13 first choice. First
you take all that into consideration, Ben. He's done a fucking great job considering what he's had to deal with.
I think the perspective needs to be there's still a lot of work to go. So don't overestimate it. Don't say, oh well, we first and we won a Good Friday derby, so it's like we can't ever criticise. But at the same time, let's not go too far the other way where you can still point these things out, but like let's not start like a few months into a coach's career start really bagging on him and some players when it's still in the grand scheme of things so early. So with that in mind, the big criticism is, we're switching off again. And normally I don't mind it because I always say that intensity in a game, you need 2 partners for that. You need both teams to bring it. A game can never be fully intense, high standard with one team bringing it. It doesn't happen. You need both teams to. They didn't for a lot of the game. But at the same time, bearing that in mind, if this was a normal league game and a normal game had come before it, I'd be a little bit frustrated, but nothing more. You kind of say, shouldn't have really switched off. They almost were able to get a win or take it to Golden Point. The only kind of thing that makes this a bit different for me is the semi-final was the game before it. And for me, they should have, if I was a player in that squad or a coach, the fire I would have after being humiliated by your rivals, I would expect like them to be hurt, like going out there and battering them, like heavy tackles, throwing that ball around sharply, not letting anything go, not soft in the collision, not grabbing at missed tackles. And it just kind of seemed like there wasn't really a response to that derby. That's the only thing that's getting me with this. It's like, it's not the end of the world and we still won, sure. But surely we should have seen a bit more fire after that semi-final.
Yeah. The things like with Huddersfield as well, I mean, they've only won, 2 games? One of them was Wigan, by the way. So they can turn up against the big sides. They're not a bad group of players, but they've been really unlucky with injuries as well. If they'd have had like full squad, they'd be nowhere near where they are now.
No.
I mean, we need to be honest on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I just think regardless of how they played, it's just more that I just didn't see that energy and that fire. They didn't play like they were pissed off, and for me, they should have been playing
First
like
half
they
an
were
hour,
pissed off
we
and they
sort of
wanted
seen
to.
it.
Yeah, we saw glimpses of it again, but it's. I don't know. I just think it's happened a few times in big games. We see it against. We have these little periods against teams lower down the league where we'll throw this ball about and we'll score some good tries. And the minute there's kind of a little bit of resistance, too often this season we're kind of just going into our shells a lot. You just see like the general energy more than just specific plays and errors.
Huddersfield.
You can just see the general energy of the players. It's kind of like they're playing a pre-season friendly. You don't really see that fire from them. They should be wanting to. I mean, they should be playing with fire every game. You're at a club like St Helens that has high standards, but especially after that semi-final loss, I just expected a little bit more. Like, right, we feel embarrassed about that. So unlucky Huddersfield, we're taking it out on you. That was the kind of game I was expecting. And again, just going through the motions and another entire half without a try, and just looking really just bored, like
Do you
slow.
think being
lethargic.
away on a Thursday night had an impact on that?
It definitely does, but we've seen it at home on a Friday as well. So it just seems to be a pattern that it happens no matter where. It just happens no matter what. You know, it's just happening a bit too much. But like we just said, there is plenty of time to fix this. At the end of the day, this league doesn't really matter. As long as you finish high enough to be in the playoffs, doesn't really matter. I mean, you'd like to have the dinner plate trophy, sure, and have a nicer playoff. But at the end of the day, if you're a good team and you play and you're switched on,
you can
for 2
deal
or
with
3
that.
games, you can become champions. So we've got plenty of time.
How many
to
times
put
did
it right,
Leeds
but
win it from 5th or 6th?
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean? Because you haven't seemed to do it.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I do think as well, there's a lot of people, and without individuals, because I don't think there's anything gained from that, because it's not like not having a go at anyone's kind of attitude here or effort in general. But I do think our fan base is overrating a lot of players. And again, it's not that they're bad; it's that they are top 4 players, but they're not necessarily top 1 or top
Grand
2
final
players. Grand final winners. So it's not like black or white. It's not like they've got nothing to offer. They can't not even necessarily they can't win something with us. But when I see comments online, what we're seeing this season, what we saw last season, what we saw the season before, it doesn't match up to the way that our fans seem to have their expectations. Now, you should have high expectations for the club of St Helens, obviously, but when you're making realistic predictions, I mean, I think full strength, KR and Wigan's squad are far better than ours. Not just a little bit. I think they're far better. I think they're far, far better. And we still have a lot of areas in the next 1 to 2 years that we need to be very clever with signings to push us to the next level. And also the young lads who aren't quite there yet, but they're learning and they are getting better. You'd hope they take another step up next season too. So I think next season is what we should be definitely aiming for. Not that we shouldn't be trying to win something this season. Super League isn't the strongest competition in the world. If you've got a few really good players like we have, you should always try, because you never know what's going to happen on any given day in knockout rugby at the end of the year. But to be more realistic, I still think there's 2 or 3 signings needed, plus a bit more patience with some of the younger lads to kick on. And I think we have to accept that games like this are probably going to happen. As long as we're on the winning side of them, and you can see some progress in some areas, even if it's small, that maybe we all just need to be a little bit more patient, I think.
Yeah. And on the subject of the young lads as well, we talked about this Thursday night as well. Robertson and Daggle on that edge seemed to... It wasn't by any means the polished product, but you could see there's something there between them.
Yeah, I love the move of Wellesby, really, and you can see signs that Wellesby's. I think he's getting a bit more comfortable now.
Yeah.
he still faded a bit second half, but like compared to some of his like previous performances, I can see it. I think there's a game coming soon for Welsby where he's going to look on again.
Yeah.
The way he wrapped around the back and he drove straight at the line, nice and direct, but brought those defenders in. Lovely break, Dagnall, Robertson, and just seeing them through kind of cut through a defensive edge like butter. I can see signs of that being really dangerous in the future. That in attack, that's like an exciting combination.
That's three lads with a lot of pace.
The only thing is, I mean, again, it's whether, and I think this is just another bit of the game where you kind of just have to accept it's going to be like this. But the only problem with them two together is that defensively there's issues. And I've seen it in a couple of games now. There's a lot of defensive issues with them too.
I think this is why you need an experienced back rower next to him to guide them.
Just to help them a bit. I think as much as they're exciting in attack, and I hope a day comes in the next year or two where we can just put them together and what they bring in attack outweighs anything in defence. But they're not awful defenders. They're not horrendous defenders, but I think both of them together are just a little on the weaker side. That it's a bit, it's like too much on one side, if you know what I mean. And especially like you said, with
spot on in that game,
like you said, with like the edge forwards and not having our strongest ones, like arguably that would probably be Host and Sirinin together. We've got Whitley and Wright, and again, not awful defenders, but a bit weak at times physically. When you put three of them and then you've got a halfback in there, and they tend to be smaller anyway. I think we are just suffering a bit too much at the moment. So as much as I did like that spark, I think desperately we need someone more experienced next to Dagnall on the wing, and then someone else on that edge like a Sirinin. I think like someone like Percival or a McDonald coming in with Robertson or Dagnall, however you want to pair them up, just until they, develop the defensive skills a little bit more, because that was a bit worrying. They were cut through quite a lot by a pretty poor side. That's the only thing I'd say.
And also another thing we talked about was Welsby and Saylor. Now Welsby was able to be like that running six that he can be. Saylor just stayed back and let him get on with it, but Saylor came forward if he had to, and I think that started to work a bit better.
I thought
Saylor
had a pretty bad game. I thought Saylor had a really bad game against Huddersfield. So I don't know, like Welsby had a good first half, at least in general. I thought everyone was fairly average second, but I don't know, it just seems like, again, it's a similar problem. All right, this time it wasn't Saylor playing well and Welsby playing poorly, but it was more Welsby playing better, and Saylor had his worst game probably all season as well. Up there, a lot of errors that he doesn't normally make. So I don't know. It just seems weird. Like we're still yet to see both of them have a barnstormer together, like an absolute barnstormer together. But
I think once you get
it's only game two. It's only game two of a combination that was brought back together after a lot of stop and start again in the semi-final. Yeah. So it's still only game two really of a run. So let's hope to see a bit more progress and, them looking a bit more comfortable in the next game, hopefully. And it's another good chance the next game as well, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. But it's another good opportunity.
Now. So it's Castleford away, another away game. Oh, bloody hell. Saturday afternoon, and got the squad here. I asked it to get rid of that watermark in top corner. By the bloody hell. Anyway, I mean, it is looking better when you look at the squad numbers, isn't it? I mean, there's more of the starting numbers coming back into it now. I think, what's the other one that's missing there?
There we go.
Yeah. So,
there we go. Yeah, it's looking better there.
The big news is Matt Percival being back in the squad. Now, whether he plays or not is a different story, but Noah Stevens is a very welcome return as well.
Yeah, good to see Stevens and Percival back. Really good to see Curtis Sirinin in there as well.
Yeah,
really good to see Curtis Sirinin in there.
With Stevens coming back, we'll see more of Sirinin in the back row.
Yeah, and as much as he can do a job in the in at prop, I think we're
Joe,
just lacking
I've just
so much
realised
with the
something.
ball.
It's CapCut's done me over because Clemmer is not number 12 and George Lane is not number 13. And Shane Wright is not number 11.
Yeah,
he's not number 10.
Serinen's not number 10 either.
No. Right, so I do apologise about that, but yeah, they're the
Well,
players selected.
it's the names that matter. Yeah, it's the names that matter anyway. I do want to, very disappointed as well. One more thing to touch on Huddersfield. And it's something we saw a lot of with Welland, and I thought we'd seen the end of this. Why are we putting players on the bench that we're not going to use in such a physical sport?
Yeah.
Why does Jake Davis not come on at all? Especially in the second half, where you can see the team switched off, it's struggling, especially physically in the collision. We were allowing so many offloads. Why, as a coach, do you not then think, well, I've got a big forward on the bench who's in great form. That can fire him up a bit. That can lead by example a little bit. If a young lad comes on, starts firing people up, that's a kick up the backside to the older heads. So I don't get this. I don't get why you would ever have someone on the bench that you don't use at all in such a physical sport where you're going to get so tired and pick up so many injuries. And he's a forward as well. You can argue if you've got a back or a half on the bench for an emergency, fair enough, you don't play him. Why is a second row forward not coming on at any point in 80 minutes?
Yeah.
That is really, really baffling to me. We had times last year where Wellens would only use 2 subs out of 4, and I didn't get that either. It's the only one thing that's really getting to me about Rowley. Everything else, I can be a very patient man. It's a work in progress, but we need to. I don't even mean play him every game. I know people are disappointed in playing the semi, and I was, but like I pointed out the last podcast, if someone had said this year Jake Davis will play 9 or 10 games, you probably would have taken that for a first full year in the team, and he's already played it already. It's more the fact that you've already named him, and you just leave him on the bench for 80 minutes, and he's one of our most informed players.
If you've got no intention of playing him, just leave him out the squad. Just say, listen, resting you, so don't want you getting burnt out.
Put someone like Tom Humphries on the bench or something. Put a young half or hooker or fullback on the bench who he's just there in case somebody gets injured. If you're going to do that, don't have a forward.
That's forward man, wasn't it?
Really can always use a rest. You know what I mean? Like a forward can always use a rest, and it's not like you couldn't take any of those forwards off in the second half because they're all playing so well. Well, they weren't, were they? So I'm a bit baffled at his sub usage, Rowley, a little bit, because he does tend to often leave one player.
He got his game management wrong in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the only thing. It's like generally, I think he's improved on quite a lot of stuff, coaching wise and management wise and selection wise. But obviously, no one's perfect, and we're not like having a massive go. But like I said, when you see things that you think you need to that aren't being done well, you just got to be honest. And as much as I think some of these early Rowley haters in our fan base have been absolutely effing ridiculous. In general, that is one area of concern that I will accept. That is the only area where it's a bit. We had it under Wellens and it was just baffling. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't use all your subs. I really don't. Just strange. Really, really. Especially in a game. If we were winning like 40, 50-0, and again, you're managing game time for a young lad, fair enough, maybe. But I don't know. Especially with like 15, 20 minutes to go where it looked like they might actually come back and do us. Why you wouldn't throw him in there to with all the fire he's got as a young lad. So that's the one thing I hope he can reflect on and start changing is let's just use all these subs when we've got them. Even if one comes on for 10, 15 minutes, that's fine. Yeah. Such a physical sport, you should be taking advantage of every man you've got. So hopefully he plays anyway against Cass. That's another type of game for him.
And you know what? We're actually wanting more subs than just 4. You know what I mean? So
exactly. So
I get it.
I mean, if it was up to me,
he got it wrong there.
If it was up to me for Cass, it's not. I think it's very clear it's not going to happen at this point. But for me, Serininen and Jake Davis are our 2 best second rowers that are fit at the moment, and they play together. We're probably going to see one of Wright or Whitley. Probably Whitley. I've got a feeling he rates Whitley a bit over Wright, and I think I probably slightly, probably rate Whitley a little bit over Wright. So he'll probably go with that. It's not to have a go at any of them two at all. It's just, just an honest opinion. I think we have a lot more to us in attack and defence if we've got Sirinin and Jake Davis there. But I do kind of understand on the Jake Davis point, there's all these rules about limiting minutes as well and things like that for players. And he's a young lad in his first year. Of course, you can't play every game. It won't be good for him long term. But I don't know, if you're going to name him on the bench, just 5 minutes here and there, at the very least, with how well he's played as well. So it does just feel like a little bit of a kick in the teeth, when you play that well, when there's a crisis and we're relying on such a young and experienced lad, and he steps up, and his reward for stepping up is not picked for a semi-final and then an unused sub for a game against Huddersfield. I'm sure there's a plan there, and I'm going to trust in the long-term plan and the process. And we all know eventually when it's his first full year, Wellesby played end of 1 year, 2 games, and then I think around 10 the next year. So, he's going to get there, Jake Davis. We all know he is, but
oh yeah.
With some of the injuries still to the squad, I just wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of him because he's shown he can do it. I think the rest of the squad almost kind of picks itself a little bit. I think you have to put Percival straight back in there. It's just kind of where do you put him? Maybe.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Let's go into something a bit more positive then. Saints Women kicks off the Super League season. Dominant display against Barrow, which we, kind of expected.
Yeah, very dominant performance, showing that gap in the quality between the top few sides, which is unfortunately just the way it is. Either. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Emily just messing about on the sidelines with the microphone. I don't think
I saw that
either.
But
yeah. But you know what? I like that. It's funny, you know what I mean? She's just enjoying herself.
Yeah. And I know it's tough for the Barrow girls, and it was tough for Catalan the other week as well. But it's we haven't all started at the same time in terms of giving the women opportunities. We're all at different points, kind of on that trajectory. So unfortunately, because there are teams out there, that it's financially have a lot more money to throw at it at the moment, and we're just going to see a lot of scores like this apart from the top few sides, but. They stayed professional. They played for 80 minutes, played some good rugby as well. Like I said, it's expected, sure, but that's not the Saints girls' fault. They've just got to go out there and play the best, haven't they? So, and they did, and they were very, very good. And I think I'm still so far with the games I've seen. Wigan Leeds is a very good game. Leeds, almost pit them there. I think we're seeing Saints and Leeds women, really try to make a lot of effort to close that gap that Wigan created last year. And I think those 3 teams, unfortunately, York, have dropped off quite a fair amount. But those 3 teams look like they're going to have some real crackers this year. And I think, for me, Wigan are probably still slightly the best side.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's I don't think it's the massive gap anymore that it was first half of last year. I think Wigan women are still the best, but Saints and Leeds women are not far behind now, I think. I think Saints women are looking better than last year for me, despite opposition. Yeah. But I think they are.
And I think one of the main reasons for that is Danny McGifford. I mean, she's just taking the piss now, isn't she? She's scoring 3 or 4 tries a game at the minute.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch. They play some good rugby, and it's nice to see the amount of pace that's that in the team at Saints Women. Considering where they're at as well as a squad, just where the women's game's at in general, and same goes for Wigan women as well. That's the type of stuff. It's going to get bums in seats more. The athletes, the ones that can do the long range tries, the big hits.
Yeah,
and. McGifford and Leah Burke as well with 2 back-to-back horrible injuries, and the way she's just slipped straight back into fair play, still got some.
Yeah. It's she's just been off season, isn't it?
Despite 2 really bad lower leg injuries, she scored against Catalan. Was it that almost full length? Or it's there's some really exciting pace in that.
Really try them off, didn't it?
It did, yeah, it did, and well deserved. Well done to her as well.
Oh,
but yeah. McGifford's just like crazy. Like it's just a bit of ball in space,
so quick.
A bit of ball in space, and she's just gone.
Yeah,
she's just gone. It's like the most exciting. I'm watching these women games now to, obviously to support the team. There's lots of great players, but that's always in my mind. It's like I want to see a 30, 40, 50 meter Danny McGifford try. It's great.
Yeah,
it's just so exciting to watch. It's great. Fair play.
And do you know what? She's gone from strength to strength.
Come on, leaps and bounds. Yeah, you can really see.
This we saw the potential in her, and now she's realizing it, and even beyond what we expected.
I was gonna say, she is just. I mean, she wasn't bad when she first came in, but it's like a different player now. That level of improvement, it's like, hats off. Like that's such hard work. They can tell, you can see it. Like a game sense, like the little subtle things about playing the game beyond just getting ball and running. She's just picking loads of it up, and she just seems like a much cleverer player with when knowing when to time these runs, stepping, going on the outside, cutting in, things that you really take for granted in a good winger. She's really showing it now. And it could be a difference in these big games against the likes of Leeds and Wigan. We've already seen it be a bit of a difference in against Leeds, So, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it because they're putting on some really entertaining rugby at the moment.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it's more entertaining. I'm not going to compare the two because I'm not, going to be careful what I say. I've got all the respect to women, but it's more entertaining than watching the men's rugby at the minute.
I really enjoy one of my most enjoyable games is the Saints Leeds Challenge Cup semi-final.
Oh, yeah, it was a great game. That
was a great game, really good game. And I say I like open, free-flowing rugby league, and I don't, people have this talk about standard. You know what? I sometimes will watch amateur games if I've got nothing to do the weekend. I'll watch Brook and Thatto, the Northwest Men's and conference and that level. I don't care what level it is. I just want to see good rugby being played.
Yeah.
No matter what the level is, if I see some good rugby, you've got me. And I really like the way these top teams play in the Women's Super League. They play Wigan especially, as much as it pains me to say, just incredible. Like the way their edge forwards offload and even the props. Bring it on. Yeah. I don't care. Don't care about that discussion.
It's why we push it so much as well.
Yeah.
It's why we push it, because we want more eyes on the women's game as well. So amount of times me and you've sat there and watched the women's games and gone, Joe, what?
Really good game.
More people need to be seeing this.
Yeah, the representing the town, representing the club just as much as anyone at any of the other teams are. That's at the end of the day. I've said this before. If Saints had a chess team, I'd be sit there for 4 hours watching a fucking chess game. I don't care. Seriously, if you are St Helens, you're representing this town and the club. You deserve the support of the town. You deserve more people to go and watch you. So
that's it. Well, it's men's, women's, the academies, men's and women's academies.
Academies as well is a great one, by the way. It's really great to see, because you get to have the eye on the future of the game, and there's nothing more exciting than when a few years later they're ripping it up in Super League and you can kind of sit there and go, I watched him play in a field in Wakefield, and you can see him. It's great watching. You get to see a journey of a player when you follow. You should, obviously it's not the same spectacle and level of the first team men's, but whenever you possibly can, guys, if you don't watch any of the other sides, you are missing out. If you don't watch the wheelchair, you don't watch the women, you don't watch the women's academy, the male academy, the scholars, whatever it is, you are missing out a bit. You don't have to do all of it every week, but if you've got a bit of time on a weekend, it's either free, or if you're not a member and it's at the stadium, it'd be about £5. And if any of you with families listening as well, it's great as well. It's good fun. So, let's start getting more spectators down to our other teams, because they all deserve our support.
Yeah. So you mentioned the wheelchair game as well, and also the learning difficulties league as well. I mean, at half time you'll have your Thatto or your Blackbrook, under 8s playing on the pitch, but some games you'll have the learning difficulties playing as well at half time. you know, and they're representing the club. I'll watch them.
Exactly. And you know, it's better for the club as you know, as more bigger teams, more eyes, more money, more attention. It's all good for St. Helens, the club in general, overall. It's all good for us. So whether it's not completely your thing, doesn't matter. It's supporting the club, and it's good for the club if all these teams do well. It strengthens us off the field. So
that's it.
It's important that we want them all to do really well.
Yeah. So upon doing the homework for this podcast, I realised it's been a very slow news week regarding Saints. So talk to social media and ask for any
Certainly
questions.
Has been almost nothing.
Yeah. Until today, and this is one of them. So Andy Critchley's asking about Eamon O'Carroll leaving. As per Matt Shaw, he's leaving at the end of the 2026 season to take up a job at Rugby Unionside Scarlets in Llanelli in Wales. I can see it happening, to be honest. But on top of that, he's asking who do we get in to replace him? Now, one name I've got in mind, and that depends if he retires this. Yeah, that depends if he retires this season or not. Is Johnny Lomax?
Could be. Last I heard of Lomax is that he wanted to be like something medical. I think he's trained as a physio. So obviously it doesn't mean he can't become a coach, but so it's just a good shout.
But with the way he understands the game, I mean, it'd be a waste if he weren't a coach.
I think, firstly, I think it's probably a good thing, you know, that Eamon's leaving. No hate at all to the guy. I actually think last season, in a very tough year, our defence was the best part of it, which he was responsible for. But we just seem to have not adapted to the new rule change, and we're shipping like close to 20 points a game on average. And he hasn't dealt with that rule change in the quicker ruck. And I do think we need a change. The defence hasn't looked good at all this year. But, you know, he was there in a real tough time and made us very hard to beat when we weren't offering a lot with the ball. So fair play to him. Hope he does well. Always spoke well whenever he's had to speak to the media. So respectful guy. And hope he does very well. Nothing negative to say. It doesn't surprise me. I kind of expect Breas to go as well. I know there's kind of rumblings that might happen. I think when a new head coach comes in, it's natural. And I think Rowley did the right thing where it's like, let's not shake up too much at once, you know? Yeah. Like, the players are used to these guys. That you know, you're already losing your head coach. You don't want them two other new guys at once, you know? I think he was sensible in, let's keep as much of this together. But I did always expect after a year or two that he'd probably end up getting, like, Rowley guys in. So who knows? I think one name that's been shouted out that I wouldn't be surprised at all is Ian Watson. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ian Watson come in at all to work with Rowley. Rowley tends to like, and you know, people criticise it. I don't see people's deal with it as much as others, but we have hired quite a few.
Ian Watson got
Salford to the club.
Ian Watson got Salford to a grand final and a Challenge Cup final. So he's nothing to be sniffed at. And
you know, Rowley likes his Salford guys. I don't know exactly, and it is all rumours, so you know, take this with a grain of salt. But I do believe there's a few off-field positions like medical and things like that where there's a few ex-Salford staff on there. Listen, doesn't matter how big Salford were in the league. If you're a good physio, you're a good coach. You're a good physio, you're a good coach. Doesn't matter what, you can do that and be part of the coaching staff or the medical team at the worst club in the league. It's off the field. It's completely different. So I wouldn't mind. Listen, it's hard to judge assistants because you don't see what they do day to day. So someone with experience is all I'd ask for. A lot of experience behind them. It's not the type of club where I think we should be taking shots on new coaches and things like that. For me, you know, go learn that somewhere else. At Saints, I think you need proven experience. So who knows? There's so many options in terms of like assistant coaches that you can't really run through them all. So I expect Watson. I've just got a feeling with the Rowley connection, the Salford connection, with how much he clearly likes to work with people he's familiar with. I've got, I wouldn't be surprised, but I could also be completely wrong. But I'm going to just make that guess that it might be Ian Watson.
No, it's not a bad shout. Aidan Stanley, a friend of the podcast, who's actually been on.
Yes.
So I've asked about something we've been into earlier on. Rowley opting for Whitley and Wright over Jake Davis, and we've touched on that already. So we've answered your question before we asked it, Aidan.
Yeah, So he's well ahead of us.
Yeah, he knows.
He knew.
Jacob Douglas and George Rippey going to Salford on loan. I mean, I don't mind it. They're getting some game time. I'd rather that than him rot on the bench.
At this stage of the careers, reserves is not enough for them. Like, reserves is for first-year academy graduates that aren't going to be playing in the first team. They need to be playing against grown men. I would have preferred, again, a Super League team somewhere lower down, like Douglas was at Huddersfield. Did Rowley ever fully explain? I think he was asked it, but I can't remember what his answer was about bringing Douglas back. That's something I should have looked up.
I think for Rowley, he keeps his cards close to his chest, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he probably didn't say anything extremely open because he rarely does. But I'd have preferred Douglas carrying on playing at Huddersfield, and that's a lot better for him than Salford, to be fair, if I'm going to be critical. But those guys can't be playing reserve rugby, so they need to be, whatever it is. I'd prefer Super League, but if it's Championship, it's still still a better standard than reserve rugby. So
I mean, given Lewis Murphy's record with injuries since he's been here as well, I think Douglas has been brought back to cover that if need be.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. But yeah, Whitby as well does him no good playing reserves. Does neither of them any good at this point. So it's good to see him.
He needs to be competing.
Yeah, and Salford have settled a little bit, and they've managed to,
they're starting to improve, aren't they?
Yeah, they've added some signings as the season's gone on, and they're kind of, they're consolidating, and they're a good competitive side now, which is really good to see as well. I'm sure their fans are happy with how it's going, considering where they started. So it's a shame that despite the fact Sky own the Championship rights, we don't see any games ever. Because it would have been nice to watch him, but never mind. But
wet weekends.
I'll be following the forums and the social media, seeing what they say about him, and I hope they go well. Especially Whitby, he needs more experience playing first team as much as he can.
Is it worth going to Match Pete's team selection, or can we just not be bothered with that at the minute?
I suppose we've done 42 minutes. Why not? Let's throw it in. You know what? I've got a different angle on this. My rant's not really about, I'll get to that. I don't give two shits about his team selection. And I think he's well within his rights to pick that team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not against the rules.
And I think if we did it, we would be crying out for him to drop everyone. And I know we would, because we've done it before. We've done it before big playoff games and semi-finals. I've been here the Holbrook and Wolf years. We did it loads. Granted, not to that extent. Pete did more than most coaches usually do.
He was giving it that first about us morning players.
I just don't see. I don't see how it comes into it. I don't see how it's image or identity. I think it's him making sure his team has the best chance of winning a final. My problem is the conditions.
It'd be funny if it bit him on the arse and they lost the final as well.
If they lost both, it's very funny. Very, very funny, of course.
Yeah.
For me, though, it's the conditions that create this. It's not Matty Pete that's doing this. It's Super League allowing this to happen because the league doesn't matter. And I'll bang on about this forever, and you can all disagree with me because you all love the grand final. I don't like the playoffs, and I'll never be an advocate of the playoffs. I think it damages the Challenge Cup, and it creates ridiculous scenarios like this where the two best teams in the country are playing each other in a league game, and nobody now cares. And whoever loses, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
this should be the game of the season so far.
And this should be the game of the season, and it should have an impact, really, on what happens at the end. Like every game in a league season should, if it's a proper league. And I just think it's a shame. What an absolute shame that we've created a kind of system where this can just happen and everyone kind of goes, shrugs the shoulders.
On the flip side, if this team of kids that he puts out pulls off a win, he's got like a genius.
And that is, it'll be a miracle and fair play.
It's a possibility.
But I just hate this. I hate this about our league that this could even happen. You just wouldn't get it in like football, would you? Imagine like a Merseyside derby, but they've got each other in the FA Cup semi-final. You know what I mean?
They have to play the strongest possible squad, don't they?
It's only a league game, so all right, we'll throw the game against Everton, or Everton will throw the game against Liverpool because the FA Cup semi-final. Well, no, because that 3 points could be the difference between you getting Europe, winning a league, staying up. So it just doesn't happen, and that's like but it happens in rugby league, and I just hate that this situation could happen. It should be that Matty Pete does not have a effing choice but to pick a strong side because he might lose the league, which should be first place. There you go, rant over. You will hear this many times during the season, so get used to it, guys. I will never be a fan, ever be a fan of the playoffs. I think it's ridiculous, but me and Rod Stud fighting the good fight online.
A lot of people will share that opinion of yours, because at the end of the day, top of the pile should be the champions.
A lot of people do, but then at the same time they go, but I really like the grand final. And don't get me wrong, I like the grand final.
Oh yeah,
I think they've done a great job, the RFL. It's a great occasion. It's a good spectacle. They've done a good job. It's
probably the only thing they've got right.
Is it worth one of the few? But is it worth, if you're doing positive and negative, that would absolutely go into a positive. The match day experience of winning the league in that stadium is amazing. Thumbs up. Do you lose more though? Yes, I believe there's too many negatives that outweigh that positive. Way more. So as much as I love the grand final, I wouldn't be sad to see it gone in first place to become champions.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you put magic.
That's how I remember
it
when I first got into the game.
Yeah. Maybe to keep the big old, I don't know, like, do we create some other sort of occasion where we still have something at Old Trafford? Do you know what would be good? Every year at the end of the season, England play a game at Old Trafford instead. How about that?
An international game. Imagine that.
An international game. That means something. Whenever we do this series thing, to replace a potential grand final going away, why don't you have like a game 3? Every time there's a game, I know this will always depend on United and if it's available, but where possible in a blue sky world, why not always have a big international? Get rid of the grand final, but you've got a big international every year. So you still get your big day out. And actually,
I've got a flaw in your little plan, though. I've got a flaw in your plan.
If you're going to say the RFL.
No, nothing to do with RFL. If it was first wins the league, that means Warrington have won a league, and I can't live with that.
At the end of the day, it's going to kill me to say this. I'm going to need a minute.
Are you sure?
Warrington deserved to be champions that season, and they were the rightful champions that season.
You're more consistent, weren't they?
Cut that.
I'm staying in that.
But to be fair, it would have changed how a lot of seasons have gone, because a lot of teams in the playoff places and below will rotate squads more. Will play weaker teams more. Players mentally won't be as engaged. The games won't be as intense more. So if you change that in the past, it might completely change what happens, because more people will know they need to finish first, and they wouldn't have been, resting players as much and throwing games for cup finals and all that. So who knows what might have happened? Who knows? But that's it.
Other news going on. John Cartwright is signed on at Catalans. Probably the worst kept secret.
Well, we called it, didn't we?
I'm going to be honest. Yeah.
I think both of us said the day he got sacked, that's obviously got to happen. That's a match made in heaven for me.
Yeah.
I think that's a good squad that should be doing better. I think he knows how to get a team out of a really big hole and stabilise them and get him winning some games. And I think he'll have some really good players to work with. And I think it just suits him down to the ground. It suits both parties. And I would not be surprised if when he goes in, if Catalan are back up to being contenders again.
That's it. Vegas teams have been announced. They are Parramatta, Melbourne, Gold Coast, West Tigers, Bradford, and Leigh. Now we can go into this, but at the end of the day, everybody's talking about it, and
You know what? I don't
I'll
even
be
want
honest,
to go
I can't
into
be
it that
arsed.
much because
I can't be
I'm
arsed.
sick of it. I'll
Let's
give
go
a
into
bullet
predictions.
points because this is.
Yeah.
I'll give like a bullet point thing, positive and negative, because there's two sides and both sides acting like there isn't good points on either side is just really pissing me off. It's just the way of the fucking internet, isn't it? It's just the way of the internet in general, not just rugby league. It's either no one can ever accept anyone else as a good point of view, even if they don't agree with it. But yes, on one side of it, Saints obviously were clearly in that conversation, and I've obviously, reading between the lines, turned it down. Why that's bad is because the NRL have eyes on this event. If the NRL as a league and clubs in general want to form links with teams, that's a way to put ourselves in the shop window more as a serious team. It gives your fans an experience they're never going to forget, and you are serving your fans at the end of the day. That's the reason this is all here. It's giving something back to them for a chance they may never have for the rest of their lives. And it just shows generally good ambition. On the other side of it, where the league in general in England is struggling financially, all clubs, even ours, are struggling financially. Yeah. And it's a huge cost for little short-term tangible gain. And maybe it's something that we do want to do at some point, but we want to get some more money coming in and look at it next year or the year after. Fair enough. There you go. Yeah. That's both sides of it. Let's never talk about it ever again because people online are pissing me off. Like, there's different things in there and there's good points either side.
Yeah. Right. Let's go into predictions then, Ben.
Oh.
Tom sent him over as we record. He's got him in just in time.
I'm still doing mine now.
Oh dear. I think me and Tom we're in agreement with a few of them anyway. And I'm glad I went with this first now after what we've seen. But tonight there's a KR Wigan. I've gone with a KR win, so has Tom.
Yeah. Well, the poor Our League app didn't realise that Matty Pete was just going to play the kids because it's 5 points either way, depending on who you pick on the predictions league.
So,
yeah, KR will win comfortably. Obviously, we all know
that. Yeah. Leigh against Hull FC. I'm going with Leigh because they're starting to find their feet again now. I'm going with Leigh. He got unlucky against KR. To be honest, he should have won that ball.
Yeah. Ran KR very close, looked a lot better. FC are still just a bit of a weird team. Like, I don't know. Away from home, I'd expect them to lose.
Yeah. Leeds, Huddersfield. Leeds. These pretty standard, isn't it?
Leeds. Yeah, they showed a bit again, end of the game against Huddersfield and a few weeks ago against Wigan. But I still expect Leeds at home. Too much for them.
Yeah. Castleford Saints. I'm going to have to back the club. Going with Saints. So's Tom as well.
Yeah, it's Saints. I think even with our struggle of getting ourselves up for big, for smaller teams, all due respect. Even with that being said, Castleford are also a bit all over the place, and even if it is a bit scrappy, it will be a Saints win, I think.
Yeah. Toulouse, Wakefield. A bit of a tough one because it's at Toulouse, but I think Wakefield will edge you. Yeah, we've put me and Tom both.
I mean, look what they did to Catalan. Yeah, look what they did to Catalan. That's the best Wakefield have looked. Well,
48
for a good number of years, you'd argue. Yeah, incredible, and I think they'll punish Toulouse, unfortunately for them in this game.
Yeah. Now this is an awkward one, and I think I've buggered up here because of John Cartwright coming in ball.
Close tie the round for me. This
I've gone York to beat Catalan. I'm going to stick with it, and so Tom's gone with the same as well.
I've gone Catalan.
I
don't know. It's both teams where it's both teams that are just hot and cold all season.
Yeah.
Like, who knows which York team are going to turn up? Who knows which Catalan are going to turn up? So it's so hard to predict. But I am just on a gut feeling alone going to go with Catalan.
In the last game, Warrington against Bradford. I've gone Warrington. Tom's gone Bradford.
I think Tom needs to have a lie down. I think Warrington are going to win very comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, if it was at Bradford, it might be a bit of a different story, but
no, I think Warrington will beat them comfortably, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, but I think they will.
Yeah. Right then. Well, there you go. Another one out the way. Yeah, thanks for everyone listening, and just keep supporting us the way you're doing. We really appreciate it. We only need 2 more subs on YouTube to get where we're going. So,
come on, those of you that are already following, everyone has a YouTube account. Your mates, your mum, your brother, your dog, they'll all have one. They don't ever have to watch anything.
Yeah.
Just get them to click that subscribe button on it. That's all you have to do. Just click it. 2 of you, get your parents to do it. Come on.
Once we get there, we can tell you what we're going to do then.
Exactly. And don't you want to know that? Don't you want to know? I know you want to know.
Well, I mean,
there you go.
There we go. So yeah, I really appreciate everything, all the likes and all the comments on the social media and stuff. And even if you question what we say, we embrace it. You can change our minds on a lot of things. There we go.
No, you don't have to agree with anything. Yeah, you don't have to agree with anything we say. That's fine.
Unlike a lot of
We
people
talk
on
shit,
social
let's be
media,
honest.
we appreciate other opinions. So
We do.
Yep.
We do.
So that will do us, and we'll be back next Thursday.
In that number, in that